Ndikulandireni pano pa Parliament Broadcasting lero lachiwiri pa 24 March 2026. Dzina langa ndi Rachel Gonani. Tikupitiriza kupatsirani tsatanetsatane wa zokambirana za phungu zachiwiri mu mkumano wa namba 52 wa nyumba ya malamulo, omwenso uli mkumano omwe aphungu akuunika ndi kukambirana ndondomeko ya chuma cha boma ya 2026 mpaka na 2027. Ndondomeko yoyendetsera zokambirana za aphungu nyumba ya malamulo lero ikuonetsa kuti aphungu apitiliza kuthira ndemanga pa ndondomeko ya chuma cha boma ya 2026 mpaka 2027. Ndipo nduna yoona za chuma olemekezeka a Joseph Mwanamveka MP akuyembekezeka kubweretsa pempho mnyumbayi kuti aphungu amalize kupereka ndemanga zawo pa ndondomeko ya chuma cha bomayi yomwe adayipereka mnyumbayi pa 27 February 2026. Tikuyembekezanso kuti lero nyumba ya malamulo ilowa mu gawo lovomereza ndalama zomwe zaperekedwa ku maunduna ndi nthambi za boma zosiyanasiyana gawo ndi gawo asanavomereze ndondomeko ya chuma cha bomayi kukhala lamulo. Unduna woona za mayendedwe ndi ntchito za boma ukuyembekezeka kupereka lipoti la ku undunawo lokhudza misewu. Tikuyembekezanso kuti unduna woona za chuma komanso unduna woona za chitetezo cha mdziko apereka malamulo ang'onoang'ono amene nduna zimapereka atapatsidwa mphamvu ndi nyumba ya malamulo. Ndipo unduna woona za chuma upereka lipoti lokhudza dongosolo la kayendetsedwe ka nkhani za chuma mu chaka cha 2026. Well, in case you're just joining us, welcome to Parliament Broadcasting. Today, Tuesday, the 24th of March, 2026, where we continue with our live broadcast of the second meeting in the 52nd session of Parliament, the 2026-2027 budget meeting. Let us take a quick look at today's expected business in the House. According to the order paper, the House will continue with the general debate on the 2026-2027 budget motion, which was moved in the House by the Honorable Minister of Finance, that's Honorable Joseph Mwanamveka MP, on the 27th of February 2026. The Honorable Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Decentralization is expected to wind up debate on the 2026-2027 budget motion, and thereafter the House is expected to move into Committee of Supply, where the House will consider all the votes one by one before passing the 2026-2027 national budget into law. The order paper also indicates that the House will tackle subsidiary legislation and a statutory report. We now cross over to the chamber as today's deliberations are about to commence. I am Rachel Gonani. Stay tuned.
Honorable members, Mr. Speaker.
Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness has appointed the office of the rulers and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we ask you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of this important trust in this land. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of this country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen.
General business, communication from the chair.
Thank you. As said by Nkatabe Central, there's no communication. Thank you. Leader, we continue with the debate.
Good morning, Right Honorable Speaker, and good morning, the entire House. Indeed, we will continue with the debate. We will take one contributor, and then immediately after, I will curtail debate to allow for the Minister of Finance to wind up debate. I submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Leader. I see Mwanza Central. Mwanza Central, hold on first. The table clerk should read. But I see, is that a point of order? Your constituency, Honorable? Lilongwe Likuni. Okay, what's gone out of order?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. Good morning. Last week, I stood on the point of order to let the House know that Mpingu Mawelo, we received fertilizer very late, and I believe that fertilizer had to come because my people did not buy fertilizer. This moment I resumed my seat, I received a message from Walangizanga that fertilizer is being taken away. The same moment I rushed, Mr. Speaker, sir, I went at Mawelo and I had to put my own rocks that they should not take fertilizer. But Mpingu, they managed to get the fertilizer. Fertilizer had to come at my constituency because those people did not buy fertilizer. So now...
Honorable Member, let me guide you. I understand your concern, and there's a procedure to bring that issue up. But what I would advise you is maybe talk to the Minister of Agriculture, right? I'm sure she can give you time to sort out the issue in your constituency. Otherwise, there's a procedure. You can fill a form so that we take it up as my office. Thank you, Honorable. Yes, table clerks.
Government business, budget motion, continuation of general debate.
Yes, I had recognized Mwanza Central.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, sir, for recognizing people of Mwanza Central this morning to contribute on the budget statement presented in this House by the Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, sir, having carefully reviewed the budget documents, I wish to offer my observations and proposals that may assist government in strengthening our fiscal and economic direction. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 2026 economic report projects GDP growth at 3.4%. While our population is growing at approximately 2.7%. Mr. Speaker, this leaves a real capita income growth at less than 1% or less. Mr. Speaker, at this pace, it would take approximately 20 years to double the size of our GDP, which is too slow for a country like Malawi. Mr. Speaker, the budget statement shows that we'll have an expenditure of over 10 trillion, and the domestic revenue is slightly above 6 trillion, leaving a significant deficit to be financed through borrowing and grants. This is where I say we must pity the Honorable Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, it is very difficult to come up with a budget under the current economic environment. Mr. Speaker, I'll cite the issue of public debt. This is something that when we talk about our debt, some people misunderstand it. And they sometimes say people out there are not interested in the jargons that we use. But I want to put it in a very simple way that people out there can understand that public debt affects their daily lives. In 2020, Mr. Speaker, Malawi external debt stood at $2.6 billion. That was in 2020. And today it has risen to approximately $4.6 billion, an increase of about $2 billion in just 5 years. Mr. Speaker, as I speak now, domestic debt has increased to over 14.5 trillion. And this brings total debt at roughly 23 trillion. And that is about 90% of our GDP. If we are borrowing for development, I'm sure we would have been somewhere by now. Unfortunately, much of this amount went into consumption. And that is where I have a problem. That is where people of Mwanza Central have a problem. When we borrow for consumption, our country will remain poor forever. Mr. Speaker, sir, when debt becomes constrained on development, it becomes very difficult for Honorable Minister of Finance to come up with a budget that can make sense, because he has to balance between less borrowing, development, and running an economy. The budget indicates that interest payment alone, Mr. Speaker, is at 2.7 trillion, meaning a large portion of our revenue is going towards servicing debt rather than financing development. The Honorable Minister has rightly stated that government intends to reduce debt burden, and this House must support that direction. One step is to gradually reduce fiscal deficit, ideally towards 2.5% of the GDP, in line with the sound macroeconomic practice. Mr. Speaker, large deficits lead to excessive domestic borrowing, resulting in crowding out effect. When we say crowding out effect, we mean banks prefer lending to government, and the private sector is deprived the opportunity to borrow, thereby leaving even young people from my constituency, young entrepreneurs in Mwanza Central, without access to credit. They end up going to Caterpillar. When they borrow 100,000 kwacha, Mr. Speaker, at the end of the month, they pay back 200,000 kwacha, which is almost 100% interest. When they borrow from the bank, the same 100,000 kwacha, they will be paying 3,000 kwacha as interest. Thereby, it is the interest of Mwanza Central to help the Minister of Finance manage our economy with small deficits. Mr. Speaker, sir, the estimates of expenditure also show that many government expenditures require foreign exchange. Therefore, high deficits increase demand for foreign exchange and put pressure on our reserves. Studies by the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank have shown that persistent deficits contribute to exchange rate instability and external imbalances. Mr. Speaker, sir, I also observed that the budget approach largely incremental, where ministries are given ceilings and allocate funds accordingly. In some cases, resources may be directed to less strategic areas simply to exhaust the allocations. Going forward, we must prioritize high-impact investments, projects with strong economic returns, job creation potential, and measurable contributions to the GDP growth. Mr. Speaker, on the revenue side, the increase from 4 trillion in 2025-2026 budget to over 6 trillion in 2026-2027 is ambitious and must be commended. While we must improve tax collection, we must avoid overburdening the citizens. The real solution is to grow the economy and expand the tax base through production. Hence my proposal to invest in production. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to also comment on the 5 billion Constituency Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, this is a game changer for this country, and we must commend the President for coming up with this initiative. This is commendable, and if properly utilized, it can, one, accelerate grassroots development, improve community infrastructure, support local economic activities, and bring development closer to the people. However, Mr. Speaker, there must be caution. Without strong oversight, the CDF risks, one, fragmentation of resources into small, low-impact projects, misallocation of or misuse of funds, projects that do not guarantee economic returns. It is therefore important that CDF resources are directed towards high-impact, income-generating and community-transforming projects, such as irrigation schemes, community markets, and productive infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, on sustainability, we must ensure that projects funded under CDF are maintained and managed properly. Communities are involved in ownership and accountability. Some investments are designed to generate income and recycle the funds, because we cannot always rely on central government to fund constituencies. Mr. Speaker, sir, if well managed, the CDF can become a powerful tool for inclusive development. But if mismanaged, it risks becoming a fiscal burden without long-term impact. Mr. Speaker, let me also address the issue of mining. While it presents an opportunity, many countries have suffered from the resource case, where resources lead to low growth, corruption, and foreign exploitation. Mr. Speaker, we must avoid a resource case driven by extractive exploitation. Malawi must ensure value addition locally, transparent mining contracts. People cannot be discussing our minerals when we are not involved. It is surprising, Mr. Speaker, to read in the papers that people are discussing about mining when our minister is here, and she was also surprised. That is not what we must be doing. There must be fair taxation, local participation, and jobs for our people. Otherwise, what appears to be a resource opportunity may become a resource rush that benefits just a few. Mr. Speaker, sir, another key issue is foreign exchange management. There is a strong perception that forex in Malawi exists, but it is always allocated, it is not always allocated transparently. I want us to look at it in this way, Mr. Speaker. In countries where there is foreign exchange shortage, shops are dry. But if you go in town today, almost each and every shop is full of imported goods. Where is the forex coming from? That tells you that we have forex in this country, but what we need is to manage how that forex is being used. Most of the forex is on the parallel market. And that is the question we must answer. Why is our forex on the parallel market? And that's the headache that all of us in this house, it's not one individual's issue, Mr. Speaker. It's all of us here. Because all of us, if we come together, probably we can come up with a solution for this problem. But when people say there's foreign exchange shortage in Malawi, to me, I feel like it's a lie. Because our shops have commodities. And the shelves are full. Allow me now to turn to the matter of reforms. Mr. Speaker, we can do everything. The minister can come up with a good budget, but without reforms, without serious structural reforms, Mr. Speaker, this country cannot develop. We already have a roadmap through the reforms that were championed by the late Vice President, Dr. Saulos Chilima. It is time to revisit and implement these reforms fully, to improve efficiency, accountability, and service delivery. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me align...
You've got 1 minute to go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to align this to the vision that the President has. If you remember, Mr. Speaker, when the President came into this House, he said he wants Malawi for all. And all of us here must support that vision. One key area to implement this vision is trade and business. We must separate politics from economy. Businesses must be allowed to operate freely. These businesses, Mr. Speaker, employ Malawians. They pay taxes, they grow our economy. Denying them opportunities on political grounds weakens the country. From the era of Hastings Kamzubanda, the late president, we had people who were doing business with government. The very same people transitioned when Dr. Bagiri Muluzi became president. They supplied government that time. The very same people transitioned when the other president came, the late Bingwa Mtalik. After Bingwa Mtalik, their children started doing business when Dr. Joyce Banda was president. After Dr. Joyce Banda, the very same people were doing business with the government of Professor Arthur Peter Mtalik. When you ask, which political party do they belong to? It looks like they don't belong to any political party. But they do business with each and every government that comes. But if etoka Malawi, okuda toka, timakonda kudana. So the vision of the President, Professor Arthur Peter Mthalika, is to build one Malawi. And that is key for all of us to support him to achieve that vision. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this in this House. As members of Parliament, we must pity the Minister of Finance. It is very difficult to come up with a budget that balances between development, less borrowing, because we cannot develop when interest alone is 2.7 trillion. Our deficit now is 2.6 trillion. All I can ask the minister, besides all these challenges, still find a way on how we can achieve reducing our fiscal deficit. Otherwise, I support this budget and we'll do whatever we can as UTM, we'll do whatever we can as people of Mwanza Central to support you to achieve the objectives that you have as Minister of Finance and the vision of Professor Arthur Peter Mthalika. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mwanza Central. Yes, Leader.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move that debate on the budget be curtailed in order for the Minister of Finance to wind up. I beg to move.
Honourable members, we have a motion. The motion is that curtail on the budget debate on the budget be curtailed in order for the Minister of Finance to wind up debate. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary view say no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried.
Government business, item 3A, budget motion. The Honorable Minister of Finance Economic Planning and Decentralization to wind up debate.
Minister of Finance. Sure.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand here today to respond to the issues raised by the honorable members on the 2026-2027 budget, which was presented to this House on 27th February 2026. Mr. Speaker, sir, from the onset, I would like to sincerely thank all the honorable members of Parliament for their dedication, commitment, and hard work during the past 2 weeks in their respective cluster committee meetings, where they were scrutinizing the budget estimates of various ministries, departments, and agencies in preparation for the deliberation of the same in plenary. In a special way, I would like to recognize the contribution of the party spokespersons on finance, which are highly valued. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me also appreciate the support and contributions from the development partners, civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, the academia, faith-based organizations, the private sector, professional bodies, youth groups, and other interested groups and the general public. My ministry has taken note of the views, and some have been considered, and some will be considered as we implement the budget and also in the subsequent budgets. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Parliamentary Cluster Committee meetings provide a great opportunity for the honorable members to have an in-depth understanding of the contents of the budget. In their scrutiny, the honorable members may have noted some typographical, technical, and numerical errors that are contained in some of the budgets to the fiscus, thereby improving both efficiency and equity in the tax system. Let me now go to the issues raised by the MCP spokesperson on finance. Mr. Speaker, sir, before I respond to some of the issues raised by the MCP spokesperson on finance, allow me to offer my congratulations to the honorable member for his appointment to this position. It is my sincere hope and belief that this House and the country at large will benefit from the contributions and expertise of this honorable member. I therefore look forward to an amicable working relationship with the honorable member as we are navigating to find long-lasting socio-economic solutions for our country. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is pleasing to note that some of the issues that the honorable spokesperson of the Malawi Congress Party on finance raised, most of the issues that have been raised by the MCP spokesperson are similar to those that were raised by the honorable chairperson Budget Committee. The spokesperson has indicated the macro-fiscal challenges that the country is facing, including high budget deficits, foreign exchange shortages, and unsustainable debt levels. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to highlight that this matter has already been addressed in my response to the chairpersons of Budget Committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I rightly observed, the government has put a moratorium on promotions and recruitment in all the MDAs to contain the wage bill. It is on this basis that the honorable spokesperson indicated that this administration does not prioritize the welfare of the youth. I would like to refute this allegation and that it is misplaced and misleading. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 2026-2027 budget has taken into account the interests of the youth in this country. As already highlighted in my budget policy statement, The following are some of the notable interventions that are targeting the youth. 1, introduction of the free primary and secondary school education with an allocation of 47.6 billion. 2, introduction of the Youth Empowerment Fund in all the constituencies with an allocation of 22.9 billion. 3, introduction of free mandatory examination fees with an allocation of 11.3 billion. 4, continuation of the graduate internship program with an allocation of 4.5 billion. And 5, the capitalization of the Youth Innovation Fund with an allocation of 2 billion. And resuscitation of the community technical colleges projects amongst other initiatives. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish therefore to mention that in the event where there is an urgent need to recruit and is justifiable, especially on essential and critical government services, approval will be provided to the concerned MDA to proceed with recruitment. And Mr. Speaker, sir, you may also wish to know that government has also provided 7 billion for the recruitment of secondary school teachers to support the free secondary school education reform. And also we have also 3 billion for general recruitment with the focus on building capacity in local councils. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to agree with the honorable members' recommendation that the country needs reforms to ensure food security. It is for this reason that this government aims at reducing the country's over-dependence on rain-fed agriculture through National Irrigation Program, contract farming, Shire Valley Transformation Project, Program for Rural Irrigation Development, among many other initiatives. Mr. Speaker, sir, the honorable spokesperson also raised a concern that the projected growth in domestic revenues is overly ambitious and may translate into excessive taxation on citizens. I wish to clarify that the projected increase in revenue is not premised solely on raising tax rates, but rather on enhanced efficiency, strengthened compliance, and sealing revenue leakages. And government also remains mindful of the economic pressures facing Malawians and will ensure that revenue mobilization efforts do not stifle the economic recovery process. Mr. Speaker, sir, both the Budget and Finance Committee and the honorable members have pointed out government's over-reliance on payee and the limited contribution from the informal sector. Government fully agrees with this observation. Our strategy is to gradually broaden the tax base by formalizing the informal sector, enhancing taxpayer registration, and leveraging digital systems to improve compliance. However, I must emphasize that this transition cannot occur overnight, and in the interim, established tax sources such as payee and VAT remain critical to sustaining government operations. Mr. Speaker, sir, concerns have also been expressed that certain tax measures, including levies on financial transactions, may undermine financial inclusion. Government recognizes the importance of a vibrant and inclusive financial sector. At the same time, it is also necessary to ensure that emerging sectors of the economy contribute fairly to the national development. We will therefore continue to carefully balance revenue mobilization with financial inclusion objectives, and we will monitor the impact of such measures to ensure they do not discourage participation of the citizens in the formal financial system. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members have also raised concerns regarding certain excise taxes and their alignment with broader policy goals. I wish to emphasize that excise taxes are designed to mobilize revenue. target non-essential consumption, and support fiscal consolidation. However, government also remains open to reviewing specific measures to ensure they are consistent with national priorities, including environmental sustainability and social consideration. Issues raised by the chairpersons of the cluster committees. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me now to respond to some of the issues raised by the chairpersons of parliamentary cluster committees. But before I do that, I wish to inform the August House that the total requested additional requirements arising from the cluster committees is amounting to 2.3 trillion, representing 7.2% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, sir, assuming we take these requests into consideration, it means the deficit will grow from the current obtaining 9% to 16.2% of GDP. This, Mr. Speaker, sir, you agree with me that it will frustrate all the efforts we are trying to undertake in order to recover the economy. Mr. Speaker, sir, the key issues raised by the Cluster Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Natural Resources and Climate Change pertain to additional resources for the purchase of maize under ADMAC and the National Food Reserve Agency, NFRA. In addition, the cluster has also recommended for early disbursement of resources for the procurement of maize and other farm produce, which we are all in agreement. Mr. Speaker, sir, the chairperson for the Cluster Committee on Health and Nutrition emphasized on the need to provide additional 10.1 billion for the procurement of medicines and medical supplies in public hospitals and the resources to clear areas for the Central Medical Stores, CMST, currently standing at 71.3 billion. These requests are being reviewed and considered, and consideration will be made during the mid-year review if resources permit. Mr. Speaker, sir, the chairperson on Education, Science and Technology highlighted the need to provide additional resources for public universities and other institutions in the sector, largely pertaining to the wage bill and infrastructure requirements. As I had already indicated in my budget policy statement, it is government's intention that public universities and other subvented organizations should not predominantly rely on government financing, but rather enhance efforts to self-sustainable through their own revenue generation initiatives. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to assure the chairpersons of cluster committees that their requests and recommendations have been received and will assist in the implementation of the 2026-2027 budget and subsequent budgets. In view of the resource limitations, other issues will be considered at mid-year, subject to the performance of the economy. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, sir, as a way of concluding, Mr. Speaker, sir, let me reiterate my sincere gratitude and appreciation to all the honorable members of this August House for the quality and the constructive debate on the 2026-2027 budget. The honorable members' keen interest in scrutinizing and deliberating the budget demonstrates their unwavering commitment to save Malawians and ensure that the country moves from its current state to prosperity. As you will note in the Committee of Supplies schedule, changes have been made on some of the allocations in some votes, while taking into account the issues raised by the cluster committees. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move.
is an
Honourable members, Zomba Malosa, how are you?
I'm good, and you, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you.
You're looking beautiful, thank you. Other members, thank you so much, our Minister of Finance. I now put the question that debate be curtailed and that the budget estimates be referred to the Committee of the whole House to consider them vote by vote. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary view say no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried.
Government business, item 3B, Committee of Supply.
Before I invite my good brother, First Deputy Speaker, to the Committee of Supply, let me make a small announcement that we have visitors in the gallery coming from Buka constituency, Lilongwe City Vendors Association. Please stand. Honorable Lincoln Leonde, please stand. Thank you very much. Takulandirani mukhale masuka zikomo kwambiri takunyadirani kwambiri. Thank you so much, Honorable, for bringing us our guests today. Thank you. Honorable First Deputy Speaker.
Honour members, welcome to. Honour members, welcome to the Committee of Supply, and the tradition of this House that the votes as appear on the order paper have now been referred to the committee of this whole House. And you know the procedure. Just a reminder of some procedural issues. When you're rising at the committee stage, you're rising with reference to a specific vote, constitution, or own standing orders. You should not just rise for the sake of rising. We will not recognize you. And when you are starting your submission, please refer to the vote, the document, the number of the document, the page. It shows how serious this House can be. Rather than just waking up to say, is there money for fertilizer in my constituents? Questions like those will not be entertained. I just wanted to make a clarification. Thank you very much, honourable members. Honourable Minister of Finance, good morning. I now recognize you to start moving the vote by vote.
Mr. Chairperson, I beg to move that the...
Apologies. Let's restart, Honourable Minister of Finance. Honourable members, I'll be measuring the vote to prepare you. I know you're using the order paper electronically, so I'll be measuring the vote before the Honourable Minister of Finance moves. So the first vote is vote 050, state residences. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Chairperson, I beg to move that the provision of 85,802,636,777 on vote 50 state residences stand part of the recurrent and involvement estimates. I beg to move.
If no one wishes to speak, I therefore put the question that the provision of 85,802,636,777 on vote 050. Honourable member for Mulanje Central and then Mzimba South West. Thank you.
Honourable Chairperson, I'm using budget document number 3, page 47. This vote has been allocated 85.8 billion in this financial year. And out of this allocation, Mr. Chairperson, 50 billion is for ORT, translating to 4.17 billion kwacha monthly funding for operations of the state residences. Chairperson, this is equal to ORT for prisons and immigration services as combined. This is clearly extravagant. First, Chairperson, imagine the Ministry of Education has 124 billion kwacha ORT. This allocation is for the headquarters.
Honourable members, to my right, we're just starting. This is the first vote. The first vote. Honourable members, this is the first vote. Let's allow the question to be asked. Let's allow the question to... Mulanje Central, you have my protection.
Yeah, so I was saying that, for instance, the Ministry of Education has been allocated 124 billion kwacha for headquarters, 900 free secondary school, 14 teacher training colleges, and other cost centers. We are in austerity, and I wanted to know if the President is aware that his office will be getting 4.17 billion kwacha every month for operations. And there's also a further 20 billion kwacha for rehabilitation of State House and its fence. Can the Minister justify these allocations? I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. I'll request Mzimba South West.
Thank you very much, First Chair. I will go on budget document number 5 and page 26, rehabilitation of state residences at Kamuzu, Sanjika, and in Tundhama. The amount is 14 billion or thereabout. My gut feeling, this may not be enough, taking in consideration the state of Sanjika residents. Mr. Speaker, if I take you to document number 4 on page 13, where there is itemization of activities, I don't see any money being apportioned to Sanjika Paris. Mr. Chairperson, my interest in Sanjika, and I want to say this without fear of contradiction, your cluster committee was taken to Sanjika Palace. I can say this, that if the state of Sanjika remains like that, come 2 years from now, it will be inhabitable for the head of state to stay there. If Mr. Chairman, looking at the document, I don't see it. I want the minister to do an undertaking that in the subsequent budget, there must be allocation of money special to rehabilitate Sanjika Palace. Personally, Mr. Speaker, sir, the last time I set a foot on Sanjika was 2014. And from there, I went yesterday. It is in an appalling situation. So these are national assets. These are national assets, regardless of whoever occupies that house. We need to maintain the state residences. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Minister of Finance, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. First, I would want to respond to the question raised by Mulanje Central. First, I would want to say as follows. I want you to know that Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika is aware of the situation. That's why actually he has spent less than his predecessor. I just want to give you that even the total amount that was spent in the, this just ending fiscal year, they spent 89.9, almost 90 billion. This was spent. But Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, despite that the inflation is going up, I'm sure we all know, because of inflation and other factors, we decided to reduce the budget from 90 billion to 85 billion. In addition, Mr. Speaker, sir, I also want to indicate the personal emoluments. The previous head of state spent 15.5 billion, but Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika only spent 10.7 billion. That's a reduction of 30%. And also on the recurrent expenditure. Previously, there was the spending was 50.4 billion, but we have reduced it to 50, which is 11% reduction. Now, as the honourable member and the former vice president has said, actually, I would want to take the honourable member, if you have time, go and see the state residences. The demolition that happened, the properties were completely damaged. Completely damaged. That's why I would want to agree This is not politics.
Yes.
We can go and see it.
Yes.
We can even, there's a committee responsible. We can go there and show what is there. So I just wanted to highlight to the honorable member that actually our president has been prudent. We have reduced the allocation for state residences, but I also would like to take into account what the honorable former vice president would have said. Obviously, we will have to provide more resources to state residences to ensure that it is habitable. And I hope also that the August House, we should learn from what has happened. It's deplorable.
Yes.
It is criminal, because that property is not for a particular party. It is not for a particular individual. It's a national asset. I don't know why people can go and destroy this national asset. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to confirm to the August House that our President, Professor Tabitamtrega, is very prudent. He understands the situation. That's why he has reduced the spending compared to what his predecessor spent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I therefore move that the provision of 85,802,636,777 on vote 050 state residents stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 060. I like the energy. Please maintain it up to the end. Vote 060, National Audit Office. Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that provision of 9,282,026,975 on vote 060 National Audit Office stand part of the recurrent estimate. I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, I therefore move that the provisions of 9,282,026,975 on vote 060 National Audit Office stand part of the current estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 070, Office of the Chief Justice. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairperson, I beg to move that you vote that the provision of 739,910,413,221 on vote 070, Office of the Chief Justice stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. I beg to move.
Honourable members, I therefore move that the provisions of 39 billion Honourable members, if no one wishes to speak, I therefore move that the provision of 39 billion 910,413,221 on vote 070, Office of the Chief Justice, stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 071, Supreme Court of Appeal. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that the provision of 3,978,793,118 on vote 071, Supreme Court of Appeal, stand part of the recurrent estimates. Mr. Chairperson, I beg to move.
Thank you. If no one wishes to speak, I therefore move that the provision of 3,978,793,118 on vote 071 Supreme Court of Appeal stand part of the current estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. The vote has passed. Vote 072, High Court of Malawi and subordinate courts. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Chairperson, I beg to move that a provision of 16,133,363,356 kwacha on vote 072 High Court of Malawi and subordinate courts stand part of the recurrent estimates. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move.
Thank you. If no one wishes to speak, I therefore put the question that the provisions of 16,133,363,356 on vote 072 High Court of Malawi and subordinate courts stand part of the recurrent estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 080, National Assembly. Honourable Minister of Finance. We have...
Agreed. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I would like to ask the Chair that we skip this vote for further consultation, and then it will come later, Mr. Chairperson. Okay.
Members, we have deferred this vote for further consultations. We're moving to vote 081, Office of the Director of Public Officers Declaration. Minister of Finance.
Mr. Chairperson, I beg to move that the provision of 2,417,124,524 on vote 081, Office of the Director of Public Officers Declaration, stand part of the recurrent estimates. I beg to move.
If no one wishes to speak, I therefore put the question that the provisions of 2,417,124,524 on vote 081, Office of the Director of Public Officers Declaration, stand part of the recurrent estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 082, Independent Complaints Commission. Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that the provision of 1,551,087,485 on vote 082 Independent Complaints Commission stand part of the recurrent estimates. Mr. Chairperson, I beg to move.
If no one wishes to speak, I put the question that the provisions of 1,551,087,485 on vote 082 Independent Complaints Commission stand part of the recurrent estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 090, Office of the President and Cabinet. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that the provision of 41,210,200,000 245,418. On vote 090, Office of the President and Cabinet stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. I beg to move.
If no one wishes to speak, I see the honorable member for Mzimba Southwest, former vice president of this country. And after you, sir, I will recognize the honorable member for Deza Kasina in that order. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Budget document number 5, page 68, disaster resilience and recovery item. Chair, my humble request to the Honorable Minister of Finance, with the magnitude of the disaster that we have had this year, I want just an undertaking that maybe come mid-term, he will review the figure, because I think the figure has been reduced. Secondly, let me declare my interest now on this one. That is budget document number 4, page 91, sub-item former presidency, item number 17, I've declared my interest. Yes, you have. I've declared my interest. Yeah.
You are protected and you are safe.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
With my profound humility, would the minister really consider those of us who are not working? For example, you see item 17, rentals. That means now we will no longer be staying where we are staying. And there are quite a number of issues here. But let me also thank you, because we've just increased it with a minimum, but we wish you had done more. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you. Deza Kasina.
Good morning, Chair. I'll take you to budget document number 4, volume 1, and we'll go to page 51 on the administration, cost centers. Chair, taking from what the Minister of Finance said and what the President has been saying on issues of austerity measures, but if you look at that under 012 intern travel, the figures have jumped from 17 billion in the last budget, and in this it has put on 60 billion. And also we'll go on the human resource management. If you go on the same page, Chair, you find that from 24 million, it has also jumped to 83 when we were talking about issues of austerity measures. But also on the executive and cabinet support on the former presidency, if you have checked on rentals, there's no any amount indicated in this financial year on rentals on the former presidency's rentals. From there, Chair, we'll go to page 52. There is a unit which is not appearing in any subsidiary laws of Malawi in terms of procurement processes. And one of the issues we have been discussing in this chamber is issues of lengthy procurement processes. And one of it, it's a unit which is called Central Government Unit, GCU. This one is not appearing in any law. And then we appear to be trying to legalize illegality, because this unit now has been given a vote on page 52, where the total for this is coming to 601 million to manage the procurement process. So I wanted to understand from the Minister of Finance, why are we trying to legalize something which is not in the legal? And if you go to the Department of Innovations and Creativity on page 53, you find that the figures on the equipment and transport, we know that fuel and others have gone up. So too, if you go on the other goods and services, the figures which are appearing are the same from the last budget. They haven't taken into consideration the issues of inflation and the like. So I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. First, I would like to thank the honourable members that have issued questions or observations on this vote, but perhaps I need to give you maybe some highlights on this particular vote. In the 2025-2026 budget, this is the year just ending, 49 billion was spent by OPC. But this government has reduced that expenditure to 41 billion. I want you to note that, because if you are talking about prudence, that's what it means. We are cutting expenditure because taking into account our current situation. The reduction also is a result of reduction and the provision on account of one-off expenses arising from election-related activities, as you are aware of. And two, also no provision has been provided because of the closure of a multinational post-cyclone Idai. So that has been removed again. But I would like to also maybe to give comfort to our honourable former president on the issue of provision for disasters. You recall, Mr. Vice President, former Vice President, that there is a specific vote for that, unforeseen. Where it is necessary, we come in. And also, it is normally complemented by donor support, as we have done from time to time. On the issue of provision for rentals, Honourable Vice President, you also know that this is normally paid by the Ministry of Lands. All the rentals, all the expenses, and the Ministry of Lands. That's why you don't see it here. But when we go to lands, I think we can discuss that. So I want to assure you that Professor Bingwa Mutharika will make sure that you are properly taken care of. No, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, to ensure that you are, so you'll be fine. Just to assure you. On the issue of administration, particularly on the government contracting unit, everyone knows that it is an operational unit as we speak now. But in terms of legality, whether it is legal or not, it's not the mandate of the Minister of Finance. Maybe that can be discussed separately with the relevant ministry. Coming to the issue of inflation, you have said, yes, we have not factored in inflation. I agree, but that's where also we are talking about to make sure that we bring in efficiencies in how we manage. That's why you have seen we have not increased, because we think that we need to improve in terms of efficiencies and make sure that there is value for money. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. I see the honourable member for Chikwawa West. You have the floor, madam.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just to ask the Minister, after his response on the issues of disasters, we have noted that we have just been hit, especially maybe the lower Shiria. Also, let me mention about my constituency, Chabananga, which has been hit mostly. Now, looking at the budget, the unforeseen circumstances budget, it only has 5 billion. I wanted to find out from the Minister if this money will be enough, looking at how the roads have been destroyed. At the moment, people cannot go to Jabananga because the road is impassable, and other areas. I wanted to find out if that money will be enough. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Chair. Actually, we have already touched base with the honorable member. That will be meeting to discuss this matter and assure her that issue of disaster are very critical because of what is happening now, the heavy rains. And it's not only in Chapananga, the entire Lower Shire, and almost the entire country in the north and everywhere. I just want to assure that we make sure that not only, we know that the 5 billion may not be enough, but as I've said, we have a number of donors that would also want to help us in this regard. And I'll be giving specific details on which donor and how much at an appropriate time. Thank you.
Thank you. If no one wishes to speak, I therefore put the question that the provision of 41 billion 210 245 418 on vote 090, Office of the President and Cabinet, stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. I thought I congratulated you too early, honorable members from my right. Before I withdraw my congratulations, please improve. Improve. Parliament is a very political house, so improve. And you know what I'm talking about. Vote 091, National Intelligence Service. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that the provision of 1,447,920,000 on vote 092 National Intelligence Service complaints, let me come back on this one. It's vote 091 National Intelligence Services. Mr. Chairperson, I beg to move that the provision of 16,674,525,135 on vote 091 National Intelligence Services stand part of the recurrent estimates. I beg to move.
If no one wishes to speak, I therefore put the question that the provision of 16,674,525,135 on vote 091 National Intelligence Service stand part of the recurrent estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 092, National Intelligence Service Complaints Tribunal. Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that the provision of 1,447,920,000 on vote 092 National Intelligence Service Complaints Tribunal stand part of the recurrent estimates. I beg to move.
If no one wishes to speak, Mchinji. Oh no, member, you don't rise when I'm looking for someone to speak. I don't want you to think I'm gagging honorable members in this house. So I know Malawians have seen that I was recognizing you, but now you are going for some business outside. Honourable members, if no one wishes to speak, I therefore put the question that the provision of 1,447,000,000. Okay, I'll take that back. Honourable members, I therefore put the question that the provision of 1,447,920,000 on vote 092 National Intelligence Service Complaints Tribunal stand part of the current estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 093. Department of Human Resource Management and Development. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that the provision of 300 billion 883,886,511 on vote 093, Department of Human Resources Management and Development, stand part of the recurrent estimates. I beg to move.
If no one wishes, I see the honourable member for Desakasina, then Mulanje Central. In that order, please.
Thanks so much, Chair. Budget document number 4, volume 1, page 66. We'll go on under Human Resource Management, Chair. There is a huge jump on the other goods and services from 10.9, and we are projecting to 9,515. I don't know what are they procuring under this vote, where it can we can jump with over 85 million thereabouts, when we all know that this department in this financial year and in this government, they are not doing any recruitment. What steps are they procuring on the other goods and services, where it's from the Chair, as I said, it has jumped from 10.9 to 95. And the same, if you go, Chair, on internal travel, it has jumped from 14 to 75. I know the background noise is excitement coming from New York, so disregard it, Chair.
Thank you. Honourable member for Mulanje Central.
Chairperson, I'm using budget document number 5, page 95. DHMRD Chair has been allocated 12.14 billion for RRT for this financial year. This provision, Chair, includes 7.9 billion kwacha for medical scheme for civil servants. In this 2025-2026 financial year, this was revised, and the medical scheme was at 5.7 billion kwacha. Chair, these amounts seem to be too low to pay for medical cover for all the civil servants in the country, even for 1 month. I wish the Honourable Minister to assure us if government is not accumulating huge arrears on this commitment. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Chair. Let me start by responding to the question raised by Honourable Member from Desakasina on the jump, mainly on ORT. I think most of the resources are also part of, are you aware that the Department of Human Resources is undertaking headcount? And actually, at an appropriate time, I'm sure I'll be coming to this August House to demonstrate how this exercise, the headcount, is going to save a lot of money. Just to give you maybe a picture, from the headcount that has happened, we have found out that we have about 11,000, almost 12,000 people that we don't know how they were employed. Some of them do not exist. So there will be huge savings. Yes, we'll incur this, but at the end of the day, there will be savings. That's why you have seen this jump, is because we need to take into account of that. And also, under other goods and services, we have also provided for health insurance payments for civil servants. With regard to no, I think the response is from a different vote. But the issue is that if I wanted also maybe to give you an indication that some of the figures may have jumped, because we know that the Department of Human Resources also caters for personal emoluments, particularly salary increases. It goes to that account. Once the figures have been established, then that money is devolved to various MDAs, including Parliament. So that's maybe some of the composition that you're talking about. On other recurrent, there's also, on other recurrent, we have increased by 25%, because last year, 9.60 billion was spent, but this time we have increased it by 25.4%, and now we're going to spend 12.1%. So it depends on what existed and what we think will happen. We have increased it actually by 25%. So I take it that it may cover, but should there be any need, that's why we'll have a midterm review. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. Honourable members, if no one wishes to speak, I therefore put the question that the provision of 300 billion 883 million 886,501 kwacha on vote 093 Department of Human Resource Management and Development stand part of the recurrent estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. The vote has passed. Vote 097, Civil Service Commission. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that the provision of 1,821,681,494 on vote 097 Civil Service Commission stand part of the recurrent estimates. I beg to move.
If no one wishes to speak, I put a question that the provision of 1,821,681,494 kwacha on vote 097 Civil Service Commission stand part of the recurrent estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 100, Ministry of Defense. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that the provision of 5,125,065,368 on vote 100, Ministry of Defense, stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. I beg to move.
Honourable members, if no one wishes to speak, I therefore put the question that the provisions of 5,125,065,368 kwacha on vote 100, Minister of Defense, stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 101, Malawi Defense Force. Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that the provision of 321 billion 317,729,153 on vote 101. Malawi Defense Force stand part of the recurrent estimates.
Thank you. If no one wishes to speak, I therefore put the question that the provisions of 321,729,153 kwacha on vote 101 Malawi Defense Force stand part of the recurrent estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 120, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that the provision of 20,693,716,637 on vote 120, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. I beg to move.
If no one, which I see the honourable member from Zimba South. You have the floor, sir.
Through you, Mr. Chairperson, I want to take the minister to the budget document number 4, volume 1, page 87. It shows the Ministry of Local Government has been allocated 13 billion. If I go to page 894, this 13 billion is meant to be capital in nature. And if you look at page 94, it shows detailed activities for those development activities that will be done. I just wanted to find out from the minister if this money is not a duplication. We already have the 5 billion that will come to constituencies, and these monies were meant also to be done in specific constituencies. Should we still have the 13 billion going towards the headquarters of Ministry of Local Government, which is also hitting the same projects that are happening in the constituency? I just wanted to have that clarity. Maybe it might be a duplication to give them a 13 billion and then you also give them a trillion something for development. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for the question from the honourable member. The 13 billion that is provided here is catering for the arrears for allocation to kind of outstanding certificates. Well, there are already certificates already, so that need to be cleared. Despite that, those projects have been devolved to local councils, but we have to clear the arrears. So the 13 billion is for that purpose. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. If no one wishes to speak, I therefore put the question that the provisions of 20,690,716,637 kwacha on vote 120, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried, and the vote has passed. Vote 121, National Local Government Finance Committee. Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that the provision of 2,417 2 trillion, yes, 2 trillion, 2,417 billion, 996 million, 15,682 on vote 121. National Local Government Finance Committee stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. I beg to move.
I see the honourable member from Zimba South. You have the floor. And then the honourable member, which constituency is that at the back?
Doandolera Chair.
I will recognize you immediately after Zimba South.
Just to say clarity also from the Minister of Finance, on the same document, document number 4, volume 1, page 98. 98, we have got local government resource mobilization, fiscal decentralization. There is medical suppliers amounting to 53 billion. And also current grants to local government. I really wanted the Minister of Finance to clarify if this 53 billion is meant to buy medicines for our hospitals at local government, at district councils. And this grant, 17 billion, I just wanted to have a clarity. Is it the GSEED one, or is it GSEED balances, or which grants are these? 17 billion. In total, it's coming to about 71 billion. But thank you so much for really allocating the CDF. It's there, and we really appreciate people from Zimba South who benefit from this. It's not easy, sir. It's not easy, Mr. of Finance. You have done a great job. Thank you.
Doa Ntolera. Ndolera.
It's Doandolera Chair. Thank you so much. I'll refer to document, budget document number 4, vote number 121. I wanted to know from the Honorable Minister if he is aware that these local authorities, local councils are paying money to an association, rather a non-governmental organization called MAGA, in the name of subscription fees. Chair, there are two anomalies here. One is that how should government pay, or how should government fund a non-governmental organization in the name of subscription fees, yet this organization is not even a government organization. Another anomaly is that in the budget book here, we don't have a specific allocation, a specific budget line that is supporting the payments of those subscription fees. Having said that, Chair, I therefore urge the Minister to clarify under what authority these payments are being made to ensure, okay. Sorry, I'll repeat, Chair. I therefore urge the Minister to clarify under what authority these payments are being made, and to ensure that going forward, all such expenditures are properly budgeted for, justified, and aligned with public finance management laws. With this, I submit. Thank you, Chair.
Honourable Member for Doan Ndolera, is that the correct pronunciation for your constituency?
Yes, it's Doan Ndolera, Chair.
Thank you very much. It's a beautiful place. I've been there, and I should be back there again. I visited with someone I cannot mention in this house. I wanted to say, you've rightly said the payment is not listed on any vote, and you want the minister to explain that payment. The same payment that is not listed on any vote. So, I will not grant you the point of order. I'm giving guidance first. So you should cool down. Because while we are quoting these documents, we need also to ask if the payments or the listed transactions are listed in our booklets. If they are not listed, so someone is playing an illegal game somewhere. And that illegal game can be dealt with possibly by this House, not the Minister of Finance, because the Minister of Finance gives these funds to local assemblies, and what they use is supposed to be oversighted by this House. So the process of oversighting, if it determines that that payment needs not to happen in life, then this House will recommend through a report to this House that this payment should never be made to such an organization you are mentioning. But it's not my ruling. I was only giving you guidance. If you wish so, when Parliament reconvenes, please bring the pieces of motions and the pieces of legislation to do the same, to avoid the Honourable Minister of Finance to be misquoted or quoted by this House. Honourable Minister of Finance, for the very first question that came from Zimba South, for your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. First of all, thank you very much for properly addressing that issue. But now coming back to Zimba South, he wanted to know the 53 billion on medical supplies. What is it? I just want to confirm, as we have rightly said, this is an allocation for medicines and medical supplies for these councils. So this will devolve to these councils. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Emeritus Minister of Local Government. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. It's good that you are chairing, because when you are not chairing, you are very difficult. You wouldn't want votes to pass so easily. Chair, the appropriation bill, which we will be giving the Honourable Minister either tomorrow or any other day as wishes, with your guidance and the guidance of the Leader of the House, becomes law, Chair. And it's us giving the Honourable Minister of Finance mandate to spend. The question, therefore, is if councils takes this money and use without authorization, are they not in contempt of our own laws? Because this process allows us to give the Honourable Minister an appropriation bill, which becomes law. So budget is a law. So the question that has come is, our councils are paying fees, taking these monies without authorization of this parliament. We have not given them a mandate to pay fees, and yet they take these monies to pay fees. Honourable Minister of Finance, you are a guru in finance. Everybody knows. No one can be arguing with you on finances. It would come to you and only plead with you. Is it true that our councils have a mandate to pay nomination fees on their own will without this House approving such? Yet the process we are doing here, it's a process which is accepted in our laws. So the book I'm holding here tells me councils have no mandate to pay nomination fees to any institution, because if councils had wanted, they should have put that in these books, so that this House should authorize, and then you would approve without any challenge. Reaching this far without trying to debate in a committee of supply, is it in order that councils should spend monies which have not been appropriated by this House? Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you. Sitting on this seat, I want to declare I love this House. I love it. And Honourable Minister, before you come in, let's take another question from Deza Kasina. Deza Kasina, you have the floor.
Chair, I wanted to add more, to supplement to what the former Minister of Law Government has said. In matters of, in terms of financial management, as government and as a country, we are guided by the law. Now, any money which we are appropriating today, it means is meant to be audited. But the money which goes to MAGA in our castles, in audit books doesn't appear, it's not audited. Meaning they are doing this, as you said, they are doing these things behind illegal games. So I wanted to ask Chair through you, before the Minister comes in to respond to it, whether it's during this period, during this committee of supply, or we differ this, and when Parliament reconvenes that, we move a motion that this figure, which we are approving, which we have no issues with, no council should be found taking it from this and paying anyone as association fee, because that money cannot be traced back in terms of auditing. So I don't know whether we should move that motion now during committee of supply, or we defer this and reconvene as the Parliament.
Thank you. Honourable Minister of Finance, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my understanding from the observation made by the Honourable Member is that that figure is not in any vote. You understand that? It's not in any vote. What I'm presenting here is what will be legal. You understand that? What I'm presenting, what you are going to approve as the Parliament is what is legal. You get it, sir? Yeah, so if indeed that was happening, I'm glad this is coming from the former minister of that ministry. I hope he will give us more information on what was happening. Thank you very much. But, Mr. Chair, what is approved here, the mandate that we're going to give to spend, it will spend depending on this budget you're going to pass. Any other things beyond that is not illegal. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. We have taken 3 questions already on this. Can we be sure the CDF is here and you are safe? The 5 billion is here, you are safe. So please, let's take the next one. Now we can move the question. If no one wishes to speak, Honourable House, I therefore put the question that the provision of 2,417,996,015,682 on vote 121, National Local Government Finance Committee stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried, and the vote has passed, and the CDF has passed. Vote 130. Honour members, if some honour members would like to go and wash their hands, the doors to Parliament are always open for us to go out and attend to some traditional calls, and indeed even to surpass our sugar levels, because during the committee stage, there's no break until we are guided so. So we are cruising, and the things are now tower. Things are working well. We are on vote 130, Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. Honour Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Chair. I beg to move that vote 130, Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, that the provision of 50 billion 750,906,013 on vote 130, Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. I beg to move.
Thank you very much, honour members. Without even asking the question, we'll start from Zimba, Southwest, Mulanje Central, the honourable member for Salima, Central West, then there's a Casina, and finish with Mzimba South. In that order, colleagues. Leader for opposition? Zimba Southwest.
Thank you very much, Chair. I want to take you to page 156. Chair, sub-item 22810, construction of 10,000 housing units for MDF, police, prisons, and immigration. I want the minister to pronounce himself that he is reducing the figure. I think the 30 billion has been spent, now they want to spend 16 billion. My own opinion was, since these houses now they have increased from 10,000 to 12,000, and definitely people in Mzimba Southwest, like at Kapopo, Edingeni, and Mjinge police unit will benefit. So if the figure is being reduced, I'm trying to think twice that am I there or not? Secondly, just below that, there is the construction of houses for people with albinism. I don't see any amount, and I want to hear from the minister. So too, construction of ministerial houses, so that next time our ministers are put in a very comfortable places. Otherwise, I'm not very sure if we are there yet. Then on budget document number 4, I think this one I just want to understand, because on the construction houses for people with urbanism, I think last year, I'm not sure if it's a typo, Honorable Minister, that last year external travel was 284 million or billion, whatever it is, other than any other activity. I thought I should mention this. Otherwise, those are my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you. Honour Member for Mulanje Central.
Thank you, Chair. I'm using budget document number 4, page 110. Chair, in the year 2025 to 2026, government paid a total of 17.8 billion in rentals for the offices and houses. And in the upcoming budget, 2026-2027, government is going to pay 19.6 billion on the same, meaning that in the 2 years, within 2 years, the ministry will spend 37.4 billion in paying for other offices, private rentals. Considering the fact, Chair, that the majority of civil servants are in the Capitol Hill, and only a few offices are in the city center, and of course other cities, would government not consider coming up with its own office complex, an additional one of 30, because the 37.4 billion can in a way be used for that, than government continuing gifting private property owners these billions instead of it building its own offices. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Salima.
Central West.
Central West.
Thank you, Chair. I'm also using budget document number 4, volume 1, page 112, and specifically on a program which is has got an indication of 17070 as a sub-item, public land infrastructure development in cities, which has been allocated 1.5 billion, Chair. This program, at mid-year budget review, had a substantive allocation of around 2.2 billion. And during the review, clearly it showed that there was underutilization by 17.36%. I want the Honourable Minister of Finance to pronounce himself if he's now convinced that this 1.5 billion shall well be utilized, and for which projects that failed to absorb the same amount of allocation that this House made. Number 2, Chair, just to add on what Nzimba South talked about allocation of resources for houses of people with albinism. Should be an initial approval was 1 billion, and at media budget review on the same page here, and the sub-program 23930, if the minister wants to make reference. At media budget review, it was brought down to 284.3, and there's a blank. I'm of the view, and just suggesting that probably the balance should have been inserted so that that continues, or else the minister should pronounce that this project has been suspended. If there is still an intention to still construct houses for people with albinism, then that money should have been inserted as a balance so that we appropriate. Otherwise, any expenditure outside this would be construed as illegal. So what is happening with the balance of 715.685? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honourable Minister, do you want to take those so we can finish with the other three? Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. First of all, I would like to thank the honourable member, the former Vice President, on the question on the reduction on the allocation to locally funded projects. I want to inform this August House that the government is quite committed on this project, the 10,000 houses. But it has come to our notice that there was a lot of, should I say, mismanagement of the funds. So we want to carry an audit. And I think it will happen shortly. And thereafter, I think we'll come back to this August House, preferably at the midterm, to make sure that we put more resources in this. But we have been advised that given how the funds were used, it will not be prudent for us to give more resources until we do an audit. That's the situation. But indeed, we have said there's an allocation, and there's still a balance that has remained in that, which is, I think, an allocation for, I think, for the people with albinism. If you check, there's still an amount. Despite that reduction, there's still an amount of 17.5, which I would partly cater for what you have just said for the people of albinism. With regard to on this law, I think there's a question that you have asked from the member from Salima on the law absorption on public land infrastructure development. Indeed, it's true. What you have said actually is correct, but that will be addressed. Through you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. There's Casina.
Okay, Chair, sorry, supplementary on that. I know we are on a committee supply, but I haven't clearly gotten the response on how it will be addressed as on the barracks for the houses for people with albinism. Sorry, Chair, I just wanted that clear.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's going to take that with the remaining honour members. So there's a Casina.
Chair, we should go to budget document number 5, of course, the program base. Page 156. I would not tackle the others because the minister has already responded, but on issues of construction of housing units for MDF, police, prison, and immigrations, I'm aware that the Minister of Lands, my dear brother, the remnant, had gave comfort to people of the Zakasina that there's more 2,000 units to be added so that the Ntebe police and indeed some more police in the Zaka can benefit. But in this budget document, the numbers which are appearing is 10,000 houses. So I wanted to get a clarification because we had the comfort of 12,000, but in this budget document it's only 10,000 which is appearing, but also on the government, construction of government conference rooms and offices at Capitol Hill, there was 5 billion which were allocated in the previous budget, but in this year, it seems there's a zero allocation. So I wanted to get a pronouncement from the Minister of Finance as to why they have chosen not to appropriate any figure towards the construction of government offices and offices at Capitol Hill. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Then we go to Mzimba South.
Through you, Mr. Chairperson, I'm also working on the budget document number 4, volume 1, page 112, on the same 2,000 plus houses that the Minister of Lands budgeted. I just wanted to confirm from the Minister of Finance through Minister of Lands if there is a possibility that during budget review you may consider these 2,000 houses so that people in Mzimba South, more especially at gender, we have got more than 100 and something officers, but we only have 10 houses. The same applies to Mbangweni. I know that this 17 billion is going to the areas you are going to pay the contractor so that the roofing level can be completed for the 10 houses, for the 6 houses that are there at Mbangweni. So if the Minister of Lands can provide a list which should indicate that Mbangweni and the gender is benefiting, then we are okay to go during budget review. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I want to address the issue of construction for houses for people with albinism. From the technical team, we are saying that there was a typo there, which included the resources for external travel. I'm told that to be addressed before you pass the budget. It will be corrected so that it reflects that position. That's what I'm advised by the technical team at the back. With regard to, I think there was a question that we need to consider building or providing additional offices at Capitol Hill. I think indeed we are entirely agree with that. I think that's the best way, because if you look at the amount of rentals that we pay and the escalations due to inflation and all that, indeed it only makes sense for us to build additional offices at Capitol Hill. So I entirely agree. So that was a question from Honourable Member from Mulanje Central. From Salima, you talked about the provision for 1.5 billion, which has been reduced to 2.2 billion. As I've said, I think that one is to do with the low absorption, which I mentioned, I think. Is to do with the infrastructure development. That's what I think, if I'm not wrong. With regard to Mzimba South, you are saying yes, consider the 2,000 houses, because you have over 100 officers that may be considered. I want to confirm that. With regard to the list that we're asking for, I'm sure the relevant ministry is going to provide that list. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. Honourable Member for Salima Southwest.
Salima Central West.
Central West.
Yes. Just want to applaud the Honourable Minister for the response on the construction of houses for people with albinism. Chair, it just shows that the identification of the typo, it shows that your members here pay keen interest to the documents that are submitted. Because outside there, people think we just say I, without following the documents. But still back to the Honourable Minister of Finance. If he missed what I said, just a recap of what I said. I talked about the public land infrastructure development in cities. And this is a budget document number 4, volume 1, in case they are picking back at the back there. And this program has got that 1.5 billion that is talked about. However, my question is, what's his motivation now that there is this allocation? At mid-year budget review, seemingly there was underutilization of this, the resources that were allocated to this program. It's been given a jump. What are these activities that will be utilizing this 1.5 billion, and yet they only used, I think, 392, if I'm not wrong, from the media budget, which was a 17.36% utilization. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Also, Honourable Minister, we want to find out if the omitted figures will affect, or the typo errors will affect the final figure on this vote. If it can you please clarify on that too? Thank you.
Maybe I should, as I'm waiting for responses from the technical people, I think the other question was the amount that will be there, what is it going to be used for? I just wanted to take you to the program-based, where the specific details, where the money will be spent, I think has been detailed. I'm sure the technical team is going to provide. As whether it's going to affect the overall figure, that's perhaps, Mr. Chairperson, allow me that we should, or maybe we can skip it, come back, so that you get an appropriate. I think that maybe that's the way to go. I'm sure by that time I would have had the responses from the technical team. What do you think? It won't?
Okay, so honour members, on that, we'll take the minister's direction that we wait. Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to confirm what Zimba South was confirming, that there will be no change. It's just a typo on the overall figure. The overall figure will not change. It will just be a question of reclassification of items. Thank you.
Honour members, in that way, the vote does not get to be deferred because the final amount remains the same. So, if no one wishes to speak, I now put the question that the provision of 50,750,996,013 on vote 130, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. The vote has passed. Vote 180, Minister of Youth, Sports,
Point
and
of order,
Culture.
Chair. Before you start this one, I know the Minister will make a clarification.
Why are you raising?
Is it in order? No, I'll put it straight. Don't worry. No. It's just for reflection of this.
Honour member, let's interface with me.
Yes, I am.
Interface with me.
Yes,
you don't need to respond to anyone in the background.
Yes, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, please. What has gone out of
the
vote?
typo that the Honourable Minister has accepted will reflect on the figure that we are passing. It's not a no. He has accepted, and there is going to be a difference. We have already passed it, of course, but they might be making amendments. Okay.
Honour member, the point of order is addressed to the chair. Order, honour members. Order, honour members. The point of order is addressed to the chair, and your chair would like to appreciate. You remember when the chair at that vote, when we were referring to get a feedback from the technical experts, we had to wait, and confirmed that the figure does not change. Honour member, we pass that vote, and the figure will not change, and we cannot go backwards to that vote. Thank you. Vote 180, Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture. Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Chair. I beg to move that the provision for 12,230,650,900 on vote 180, Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, stand part of the recurrent and development estimates. I beg to move.
I see the Honourable Member for Blantyre City, Sochi Zingwangwa constituency. The Honourable Member for Mulanje West. I thought you were rising. We can hear you. Then we'll go to the Honourable Member for Mulanje Central, then Dowa Ndolera, then Mzimba South West. In that order, please.
Thank you so much, Chair, for recognizing the people of Blantyre, Soji, Zingwangwa constituency. Chair, I'm referring to budget document number 5, program-based. Development of arts. Chair, development of arts has been allocated 486 million. Now, Chair, youth in this country are facing unemployment, underemployment, economic issues in general. I was wondering, Chair, if it is possible, because I'm looking at arts in general. There's music involved, the film industry involved, there's content creation in general involved. So the allocation of 486 million, in my view, I would like to urge the Minister of Finance to maybe reconsider if there's a possibility to maybe increase that allocation. Arts, Mr. Chair, Honorable Chair, arts is not a side hustle. It's an industry that could help us deal with issues of unemployment and underemployment. Lastly, Chair, I would urge that we move away from looking at this ministry as a ministry that gets dominated by sports, football, netball. This ministry should now start emphasizing on youth empowerment in general. Now, this statement is coming from the overall allocation of 12.2 billion. If you look at the trillions that we have for the whole national budget, considering the fact that youth, we are almost in majority, I would say, safely to speak. So moving forward, let's see figures beyond these amounts. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. Mulanje Central.
Chair, I'm using budget document number 3 on page 50. Honorable Chair, the Ministry's ORT provision for the forthcoming financial year 2026-2027 has been increased by 64% to 3.77 billion kwacha from the 2.3 billion kwacha in this ending financial year. I would just want the Minister to explain why the increase of this magnitude to this ORT, to this ministry. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much. Let me start with the question from Honourable Member from Blantyre Sochi Zingwangwa for the important question. Allow me, Mr. Chairperson, just to confirm that this government takes the youth as an instrument for development in this country. As we're aware that more than 50% of the population are the youth. And if this country is to grow, we need to invest a lot in the youth. That's why this government, as alluded to in my statement, that we have put a lot of resources for the youth. I mentioned about the 47.6 billion for the free primary and secondary school education. I talked about the youth empowerment, 22.9 billion. I'm sure honorable member you are aware of that. And also about the examination, 11.3 billion. And then we also have 4.5 billion for graduate internship program. And lastly, we have also 2 billion for youth innovative fund. So I just want to confirm that this government takes care of the youth and make sure that. But I also agree with you that we need to be increasing resources as we go on. But for this year, I'm sure I've already said that the request that we had from all the clusters was almost 2.6 trillion, which we could not afford. But obviously, as we start mobilizing more, and depending on the performance of the budget, we can consider an increase at mid-year. That's what I can say at this point. The other question from honorable member from Mulanje Central, you are asking the question, why have we increased the budget for the ORT from 2.774, the revised figure at mid-year, to about 3.7, almost 3.8 billion. The increase is a result of the movement of the